Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County.
Hi, Chris. It's been a minute. How's it going? And lovely to see you again. Not because we're going to have anything approaching a meaningful conversation that makes sense and will make the world a better place, but because Mrs. Sick f***ing hates your little intro, and she has to watch these videos to do the animated bits. So I decided to write an entire script just so I could have something in it that would annoy her. I know, I'm such a great guy, and she's very lucky to have me. It's just a bonus that you also say some of the stupidest shit on the entire planet. What's it gonna be today, champ?
Today's Friday, and I'd like to give you a couple things to think about.
Well, we shall see about this whole Friday thing. I mean, he just lied that we would have things to think about. We all know CC has no idea what thinking is, and especially not how to do it. So I am not convinced about this Friday claim. And I don't mean that it is Friday, but that Friday exists at all. Surely when someone is wrong about so much, you have to question the things they say that you might otherwise agree with. Such is the frequency and magnitude of how wrong Chris usually is.
And this is for whom people...
Alright, calm down, Mr. Owl. Slow down for a minute and actually think about what you want to say before flapping those vacuous lips of yours, and actually say what you mean. And don't say words like whomstest just to make yourself sound clever, because it actually increases the chances of you sounding more silly than you otherwise would. And that's before you start rolling out the idiotic flat earth shit.
Whomever believes in space, okay?
Oh, so you mean like basically everyone? Because, believe it or not, the fact that space is a real thing that is real, and we have lots of evidence for that fact, due mostly to how real it is, turns out that situation makes people, believe the real thing. That reals. Weird, that.
Who disagrees with me that space does not exist. This is for you.
Okay, sure. So everyone pretty much again. Yes, I know, in your little circle jerks where everyone pretty much agrees to the same premise, it must seem like everyone thinks as you do. And only some weirdo outsiders think differently, but nope, it's everyone else but you lot, and like babies, who can't conceptualize what space is, and even they don't shit themselves as much as you do. Metaphorically speaking, at least. Although it would not surprise me if it was the other way too. You do spend a lot of time alone in your car.
Scientism.
Oh my god, just so much dead air, and then scientism. Said in all caps, clearly. Goddamn, that's so fucking hilarious. If I didn't know any better, I would say you were a comedy smart guy instead of just being comedy gold. But yeah, the old dreaded scientism. What has it done today, CC? And no, when he says scientism, he's not talking about science done with weirdly religious overtones. That shit is ridiculous as anything else. He just means science and the facts we understand based on it, 'cause smart.
I want you to believe that space does exist. And it's this enormous universe.
And actually, it's all this tiny thing, because it has to be, because I don't have the capacity to comprehend anything bigger than a sedan. And the idea that reality stretches beyond the confines of my car or my kitchen scares the shit out of me. No, it's small so that I can understand it and put it in my glove box or under my sink. And that makes me feel so much more in control of my life, since nothing else is under my control.
However, I come to the conclusion that scientists are complete bullshitters.
You would indeed do that. If you had no idea what the things they said meant and put literally zero effort into understanding it, that is the conclusion that you would come to. That doesn't make you right, and it certainly doesn't mean that the people who dedicated their lives to figuring out how the world works are somehow just faking it. And it completely misses the fact that if they're faking it, how the hell do they keep making amazing things that work based on apparent bullshit? If it's bullshit, those things should basically always fail. And yet, that doesn't happen for some reason.
Because if you think about it, guys...
Oh no, Cucker. You don't want to be doing that. If people think about things, they'll fly away from you and yours in no seconds flat. Get it? Thinking is like the worst thing one can do in relation to flat earth belief. No, what you want to do is just bash yourself in the head with a rock until all you can hear in your head is TV static. And then when anyone tries to make you think or proves you wrong in an obvious way, you have no possibility of actually learning something, and you can carry on believing what you already believe. Phew!
Since we don't... Well, okay, let's just look at it this way. Time.
Fuck me, that was so dramatic. The turn to camera, the intense glare. Shit, you got me, dude. That was damn sweet. But, okay, sure, time. No, wait, sorry, I meant time. Let me guess. Space is fake because you don't understand how time works either. I mean, that is always how it is with you, and yet, it's still always funny.
Time can't be measured in space. That's what the scientists say.
Do they? That seems extremely unlikely. Like, when people go to the International Space Station, do they not know what time it is? How do they know when to come back? Of course, I think I know why you think that's what they say. Because of course time can be measured f***ing anywhere. The problem you are likely having is that time on Earth and space-time are likely going to be different things because we measure time on Earth by the position of the sun relative to the Earth. In space, that's not really a useful metric. Now, for the time being, they probably just use clocks calibrated by that. But eventually, that'll probably have to change to something more universal, something that we could all gauge no matter what planet or where we were in the universe, to make sure that everyone's time is the same regardless, because having that is really useful. I have no idea how they would do this, but yeah, and that's not the same thing as not being able to measure time in space. You were probably just not f***ing listening.
It can't be measured in space. Okay, alright, so let's take a look at that statement.
What, the one that you likely made up? Can we not and find out what scientists actually say? Because all I could find in regard to measuring time in deep space is that they use atomic clocks. So yeah, that's not measuring time in space. That's exactly measuring time while in space. In fact, atomic clocks are so accurate that assuming you could keep it going indefinitely, that's kind of all you would need access to in order to know exactly what time it is. Cool. So you're wrong. What a shocking shock.
And let's take a look at, well, then how are they measuring the year or how old these galaxies are?
Oh, for God's sake, that's not even the same thing as not being able to measure time in space. You're talking about, well, measuring the speed of light, full stop. It's almost like that's the name of this video or something. But yeah, no, mate. They measure the speed of light and then figure it out based on observing their spectrum, luminosity, and motion through space. And yeah, I copy-pasted that from the first thing that came up when I typed in how do they measure the age of stars. But then again, I f***ing checked. And yeah, they do it by that. It's more complicated, obviously, but it also isn't that complicated.
That are so far away. Oh, well, because of light. Light. You know, they're 50 trillion light years away, okay?
Light is only one aspect of how they do that, mate. They don't just say, 'cause light, they far away. There are a lot of measurements that are involved in calculating the age of a distant star, including but not limited to its relative position in space. Now, to be fair, light is really important. I mean, you try measuring something you can't see or potentially detect at all, that's going to be a bad time. I mean, that's how I managed to poke my eye out while I was trying to measure my penis in the dark. Wait.
Hold on one second.
Wait, what the f*** was that? Is he on the job? God damn it, Chris. You can't be doing that. You need to focus when you're working, not f*** about talking nonsense. The only task that you should be doing whilst working is watching Sir Sick videos. Subscribe now for terrible content that will make you dumber. But you might laugh maybe, so it's probably worth it.
Alright, sorry about that. So, they look at the galaxy and they say it's 50 trillion light years away, okay?
They look at the galaxy. Which galaxy? Because I hate to burst your bubble, but the actual size of the universe is likely only about 7 trillion light years. So I don't know where you got that number from, but it's wrong. That's what happens when you get all your quote-unquote science quote-unquote knowledge from flat earth quote-unquote experts. You just get a whole lot of nothing.
So yeah, they can measure how old this galaxy is. Maybe it's not 50 trillion. Let's say it's 50 billion light years away, okay?
See? See? He's just making this shit up. He has no idea what science or, well, any scientists say. It's all just being pulled out of his arse because God forbid he actually knows something. That would be too difficult. And he knows so little that his guesses are outrageously stupid because, again, the 50 trillion number is way beyond the estimates for the observable universe by hundreds of fold. Damn it, man. Try harder.
Easier number to work with. Trillion might be a little bit too much. Let's work with billion.
Like you could even comprehend a number as large as 1,000,000 or 100,000. I would be staggered if you could count up to 50. Just 50 on its own. But that's mostly because you don't have 50 fingers and toes. At least I hope you don't. Although thinking about it, it really wouldn't surprise me if you did. Inbreeding does lead to flat Earth.
50 billion light years away. So that's how they estimate the age of the galaxy.
What, by pulling numbers out of their assholes? No. That's how you come up with your lot's numbers. But no, again, they actually calculate that shit with a number of factors. Shit that takes actual work and effort and that oh-so-lacking feature of all flat earthers, any intelligence whatsoever.
Now that's funny.
I know. That's why you guys are still to this day so much fun to f*** around with. I mean, when people say, flat earth is a dead meme, why are you still making videos on it? I'm just so baffled because it didn't stop being funny just because it's old.
Because we don't know how fast light travels. There's absolutely no way of measuring how fast light travels.
What the f*** are you talking about? We absolutely do know how fast light travels and we have measured it a f***ing bunch of times. What are you even blathering about? This is just you being ignorant for ignorance sake. Did you even think for 1 second to ask someone somewhere how fast light is and how they measure it? Because they know, and they do. And just because you think they don't, probably because you don't know how, doesn't mean that it's not something that can and has been done, you aggravating floppy-haired fuck.
But the scientists won't let you know that at 7.5 times around the world in 1 second, and it's 186,000 miles per second.
I can't tell if you are saying that the scientists won't let you know or that they would let you know, but I'm assuming it's would because that sounds fairly accurate. So you do know that we know. You just don't believe it, obviously, because reasons. There's this fantastic thing about science that you can, for many, many things, test it yourself, design an experiment and figure it out for yourself. And hell, if you find out that somehow all these science guys fucked up and got it completely wrong, you can even win yourself a nice Nobel Prize. In whatever, it doesn't matter, they all pay the same. But that's not going to happen, of course, because I don't think you could science your way out of a wet paper bag with a fucking chainsaw.
How do they come up with that number?
They measured it, you fucking dick! And why do you look so angry? Oh right, of course, it's something you don't understand, so it makes you mad. That you don't understand, so it's time to do the big angry about it. Now, I'm not going to pretend it's something super easy to do, but it's certainly within people's grasp. Because it was done centuries ago, in 1676. And if they could figure it out way back then with technology equivalent to a cup filled with spit by today's standards, then someone who's as smart as you likely think you are should be able to figure it out easy peasy. Of course you can't, because you're probably not even as smart as I think you are. And that's pretty fucking dumb, not gonna lie.
So if that number's fake and that number's bullshit,
then half your stuff suddenly falls to pieces and tons of infrastructure across the planet suddenly stops working. Because loads of shit is made using scientific principles that rely on them to be what they are to work. It's weird how that doesn't happen, and it's weird that flat earthers haven't come along with the new science that is better than real science and makes things that work much better because they're basing it on real science instead of the fake made up one. I wonder why they don't do that.
That means anything that they're looking up there in space, they don't know anything at all. They know nothing. It's all bullshit.
According to you, based on, I don't think it's true, therefore it must be wrong, because of what a big-brained smart guy I am. And it certainly isn't that I just refuse to actually learn a single damn thing about anything, instead choosing to sit in my car getting angry at facts that I don't like. Yeah, not gonna lie, mate. That's not exactly what I would call compelling.
There is no space, guys. Doesn't exist.
Well, if you say it, then it's gotta be true. All that stuff that works because it exists, I'll just ignore that. The fact that you don't get lost driving to the idiot store to get your opinions is not because of GPS, but because there's actually robot birds watching your every move and communicating direction via microwave cannons where their head should be, or some stupid shit like that. And yes, of course he gets his opinions from the idiot store. Do you think that he's smart enough to come up with this stupid shit on his own? Come on.
It's a figment of your imagination.
Projection if I ever did see it, mate. No, everything you believe is a figment of your imagination. Everything I believe to be true are things that are thoroughly tested and proven to be true by people far smarter than we are. And the fact that you can't accept that doesn't change you being completely wrong about basically everything.
It's an amazing light show up there. It really is.
Yeah, it almost looks like you have coherent thoughts, but nope, it's just blinking lights and various beans rattling about, somehow making you look like you are a thinking person and not just an empty void of utter incompetent thoughtlessness. Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstar Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the